Inbound Marketing, Get Found Using Google, Social Media, and Blogs by Brian Halligan and Dharmesh Shah. Picture this. It's 2008, and a relatively unknown senator from Illinois named Barack Obama is staring down what looks like an impossible challenge. His opponent? Hillary Clinton, former First Lady, political powerhouse, backed by one of the most formidable political machines in history. On paper, he doesn't stand a chance. The traditional playbook was straightforward. Whoever raises the most cash, buys the most TV spots, sends the most direct mail, and makes the most phone calls wins. It was basically a war of attrition. But here's where it gets interesting. Obama's team realized they couldn't win playing by the old rules. The deck was stacked against them, so they did something radical. They changed the game entirely. Instead of just broadcasting their message louder, they built a movement that drew people in. They leveraged blogs, social media, and created a website that felt less like a campaign brochure and more like a community gathering place. They didn't just ask people to vote, they invited millions to connect, organize, and feel like they were part of something transformative. While the establishment was dumping money into expensive commercials, Obama's team was building a digital army and raising $500 million, much of it from small online donations. And well, we all know how that story ended. What they discovered wasn't just smart campaign strategy. It was a blueprint for a revolution quietly reshaping every industry on the planet. Around the same time, two sharp minds at MIT, Brian Halligan and Dharmesh Shah, were noticing the exact same pattern. They watched businesses burn through billions on TV ads, junk mail, and cold calls, essentially screaming at potential customers. It was like using a megaphone at a party where everyone's already wearing noise-canceling headphones. Expensive, irritating, and increasingly pointless. They recognized something fundamental. The way people shop, learn, and make decisions had completely transformed. We directed walls against the noise. Spam filters, caller ID, DVRs. But when we actually wanted something, we knew exactly what to do. Google it. Read a trusted blog. Ask for recommendations on Facebook. Halligan and Shaw named this new reality inbound marketing. It's the art and science of being discovered by people already searching for what you offer. It's not about broadcasting your message. It's about attracting the right people to you. The difference between a megaphone and a magnet. They documented the playbook for this new era in a book that became essential reading for an entire generation of entrepreneurs and creators. By the time we're done today, you'll understand the elegant but powerful truth behind why some ideas, businesses, and people seem to effortlessly attract an audience while others shout into the void. You'll learn how to stop chasing people and start getting found. Let's rewind to a not-so-distant past, a world your parents grew up in. Marketing back then was essentially a budget war. If you wanted to tell people about your product, service, or idea, you had to pay to interrupt them. You'd buy commercial time that cut into their favorite shows. You'd place glossy ads in magazines. You'd flood mailboxes with what everyone called junk mail, or hire someone to call during dinner, the infamous telemarketing call. This was the age of outbound marketing. The strategy was brutally simple. Shout your message loud enough and often enough that something eventually sticks. It was all about pushing your message at the masses. And for decades, it worked. Giants like Coca-Cola and Procter & Gamble built empires on this model. But then something shifted. We, the audience, developed immunity to the constant bombardment. Technology gave us the tools to fight back. Spam filters protected our inboxes. Caller ID screened our phones. TiVo and DVRs let us skip right past those commercials. The megaphone was still blasting, but fewer people were listening. For businesses stuck on this old model, it became an expensive, frustrating treadmill, spending more to get less attention. Into this changing landscape, brilliant entrepreneur and author Guy Kawasaki offered a piece of wisdom that captures the heart of this book. If you have more money than brains, you should focus on outbound marketing. If you have more brains than money, you should focus on inbound marketing. This single sentence draws a line in the sand. It presents a choice. Keep playing the old game of buying attention, or start playing the new game of earning it. So what does this new game look like? Think about your own behavior. When you want the best pizza in town, what do? You don't wait for a TV commercial. You pull out your phone and Google "best pizza near me." When you want to learn a new video game, you head to YouTube for tutorials. When you're deciding which movie to watch, you read reviews or ask friends on social media. You don't wait to be interrupted. You actively hunt down what you need. This is the world of inbound marketing. It's built on a simple but powerful idea. Stop interrupting what people are interested in and become what people are interested in. Instead of pushing your message with a megaphone, you create a magnet that pulls people toward you. You do this by creating content that's valuable, helpful, and entertaining. Content that answers questions, solves problems, and speaks to people's passions. You become the helpful blog post they discover on Google, the insightful YouTube tutorial, the trusted voice in their social feed. You stop chasing customers and let them find you. That's the foundation everything else is built on. So how do you become this magnet? The authors say it starts with one essential principle. You must be remarkable. The word itself is a clue. It doesn't just mean unique or different. It means being worthy of a remark, so interesting, valuable, or delightful that people can't help but talk about it. Consider the legendary Grateful Dead. In an era when most bands' entire business model revolved around album sales, the Grateful Dead did something that seemed absolutely insane. They let fans bring tape recorders to concerts and record the shows for free. They actively encouraged their most devoted followers to share their music. Record labels must have thought they'd lost their minds. But the band understood something deeper. They weren't selling plastic discs. They were creating experiences. Their live shows were legendary, with improvisational jams that made every concert unique. By letting fans tape and trade their music, they weren't losing sales. They were building a tribe of evangelists who spread the word far and wide. They went deeper with their audience, creating a rabid fan base that would follow them anywhere. And in doing so, they became one of the highest-grossing musical acts of all time. They were remarkable. They were worth remarking about. This principle applies to everything. Before you can attract anyone, you need something worth being attracted to. This leads to the core engine of inbound marketing, creating remarkable content. This isn't content designed to sell. It's content designed to serve. It's the give-to-get principle in action. The more value you give away, the more trust you earn, and eventually, the more business flows back to you. Take Whole Foods. Their blog isn't just weekly specials. It's packed with recipes, healthy living tips, and stories about organic farming. They're teaching and helping their audience, building a community around shared passion for good food. When people in that community think about where to buy groceries, Whole Foods comes to mind, not because of flashy ads, but because they've become a trusted guide. This remarkable content needs a home. Which brings us to the next pillar of inbound philosophy, your website. For decades, company websites were basically online brochures, static, corporate, forgettable. You might visit once, but you'd never return. The authors call this brochureware. Inbound marketing demands you transform your website from a static brochure into a living, breathing hub. Think of it less like a billboard and more like Grand Central Station for your industry, a place people come to learn, connect, and stay updated. The engine that brings this hub to life is a blog. A company called 37 Signals, now Basecamp, provides a perfect example. They were a small software company, building project management tools. Instead of burning cash on advertising, they started a blog called Signal versus Noise. They didn't just write about their software. They shared philosophies on design, business, and productivity. Their posts were insightful, opinionated, and incredibly helpful. People started reading, then sharing. Other blogs started linking to them. Soon their blog became one of the most respected voices in their field. Through that blog, millions discovered their products. They built a multi-million-dollar company not by shouting about their software, but by quietly becoming the smartest voices in the room. Their website wasn't a megaphone. It was a library, classroom, and coffee shop rolled into one. It was a hub. Now you might be thinking, okay, I can create remarkable content and build a beautiful hub. But if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around, does it make a sound? How do people actually find this hub? This is the get found part of the equation, built on 3 pillars. The first pillar is the blogosphere. Your blog is the heart of your content factory. Every article is a new page on your website, another fishing line in the water, another chance for discovery. It's your opportunity to establish yourself as an expert, one helpful post at a time. The second pillar, perhaps the most powerful, is Google. Think of Google as the internet's master librarian, finding the best, most relevant answer to any question. So how does it decide what's best? The authors explain with a simple analogy. Google runs a popularity contest. Every time another website links to your content, it's like a vote, a signal that says, hey, this content is valuable and trustworthy. The more votes you get, especially from popular websites, the more Google trusts you. And the more it trusts you, the higher you rank when someone searches for relevant information. This is search engine optimization, or SEO. But you don't need to be a tech wizard to understand the core principle. You win at Google not by gaming the system, but by creating content so genuinely remarkable that other people, bloggers, journalists, everyday fans, want to link to it. Your remarkable content earns you the votes. The third pillar is social media. Sites like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn aren't just for posting food pics. They're the world's largest coffee shops, massive global conversations happening around the clock. The inbound approach to social media isn't barging into conversations and yelling about your product. That's the outbound way, and it's just as annoying online as in real life. Instead, you listen to what people in your industry are discussing, what problems they face, what they're passionate about. You share your remarkable content, not as advertisements, but as contributions to the conversation. And you engage directly, answering questions and building genuine relationships. Inbound marketing on social media is about being human, building community one conversation at a time. Let's recap the journey. You've created something remarkable, built a hub filled with valuable content, and used blogs, Google, and social media to help people find you. Visitors are arriving at your website, but visitors aren't customers. How do you transform a curious visitor into a loyal follower and eventually someone who supports your work? This is the fourth pillar, convert and nurture. First, you create a call to action, or CTA, a friendly signpost on your website. After someone reads a great blog post, you don't want them to just leave. You invite them to take the next step. A CTA is a clear, compelling invitation. Download our free guide, watch the full video tutorial, or subscribe for weekly tips. When visitors click that CTA, they land on a special page called a landing page. This page has one job: offer the valuable thing you promised, the guide, video, checklist, in exchange for a small piece of information, usually an email address. It's a value exchange. They get your remarkable content, you get permission to stay in touch. This person isn't just a visitor anymore, they're a lead. But most leads aren't ready to buy right away. This is where the final crucial step comes in: lead nurturing. Nurturing is building trust and deepening relationships over time, like staying in touch with a new friend. You don't ask for huge favors the day after meeting. You build the relationship first. Through email, you continue sending helpful, relevant content, not sales pitches, valuable insights, useful tips, interesting stories. You're demonstrating you're here to help, not just sell. You're building trust with every interaction. Then, when they're ready to make a decision, buy a product, hire a service, support a cause, who do you think they'll turn to? The stranger with a flashy ad? Or the trusted guide who's been helping them all along? The answer is obvious. They'll turn to you. Finally, The authors stress this entire process isn't guesswork. The beauty of inbound marketing is everything's measurable. You can track exactly where visitors come from, which content they love most, and how many visitors become leads and customers. It transforms marketing from fuzzy art into clear science. This new world requires a new kind of person. The authors make a brilliant distinction between digital citizens and digital tourists. Digital tourists visit the online world, but don't really live there. They might have Facebook or use Google, but it's not their native language. Digital citizens, however, grew up on the web. They intuitively understand how these platforms work. They're creators, connectors, natural communicators in digital spaces. To succeed in the inbound era, you need digital citizens around you. From the first spark of a remarkable idea, to building a hub of value, to getting found across the vast internet, and finally converting visitors into a loyal community, this is the path of inbound marketing. It's a journey that transforms your entire approach from interruption to attraction. When you step back and look at the big picture, you realize Halligan and Shaw weren't just writing about new marketing tactics. They were documenting a fundamental power shift. For most of the last century, power belonged to institutions with the biggest budgets. The company with the most money could buy the most attention. Attention was a commodity you purchased. This book declares that era is over. Power has shifted from institution to individual, from company to customer. Attention is no longer something you simply buy, it's something you must earn. What I find most profound is that these principles extend far beyond business. This isn't just a playbook for marketers, it's a playbook for anyone with an idea to share in the 21st century. Whether you want to grow a YouTube channel, build a personal brand, launch a nonprofit, or make a difference in your community, the rules are the same. You don't win by being loudest. You win by being most helpful. You don't gain followers by demanding attention. You earn it by generously giving value. The world is noisy. Everyone's fighting for a sliver of our attention. The outbound approach adds to that noise, shouting louder than everyone else. The inbound approach is becoming the signal in the noise. It's more patient, more generous, and ultimately more human. So how can you start applying these powerful ideas in your own life, starting today? Here are a few simple actions. First, start your own small hub. You don't need a business. Pick something you're genuinely passionate about. A video game, sport, school subject, hobby, and start a simple blog, YouTube channel, or dedicated Instagram page about it. Don't think about selling anything. Your only goal is sharing what you know and love in helpful, interesting ways. This is your training ground, where you'll learn to create remarkable content and find your voice. Second, become a conscious digital citizen. Next time you're online, don't just consume content, analyze it. When you click on a YouTube video, ask yourself, why this one? What about the title or thumbnail pulled me in? When you share a blog post with a friend, ask, what made this so valuable I wanted to pass it on? When you start seeing inbound marketing patterns everywhere, you'll begin internalizing the principles. Third, practice the give-to-get philosophy in daily life. Next time you need something from someone, help with a project, advice, an introduction, pause. Before asking, think, what can I give? Share a useful article. Offer a genuine compliment on their work. Find a small way to help them. When you lead with generosity, you build relationships based on trust, not just transactions. This is the inbound philosophy applied to life. In the end, the old world told us that to be heard, you had to be loudest. You needed the biggest budget and most prominent billboard. This book tells a different, more hopeful story. In today's world, the most heard aren't the loudest. They're the most helpful, the most generous, the most remarkable. Power is no longer in the width of your wallet, but in the width of your brain and generosity of your spirit. Go be remarkable. We've walked through the architecture of inbound marketing today, but a blueprint isn't the same as walking through the finished house. What we've done is given you the key. The real adventure begins when you turn it yourself and step inside the book. It's there, in the detailed stories and practical step-by-step advice, that these ideas truly come alive. If you've felt a spark of curiosity, if you've thought, this makes sense, then I encourage you to pick up a copy. Think of it not just as reading a book, but as starting a conversation with two of the smartest guides you could ask for. The link is waiting in the description. And if this conversation has added value to your day, a simple like and subscribe helps us continue our mission here at Billionaire's Bookshelf, unlocking the wisdom of the world's most powerful books, one story at a time. Thanks for listening, and let's keep building our wisdom together.